Will Marathon run on these handhelds? We're going to be testing Marathon on the Xbox Ally, the Xbox Ally X, and the Lenovo Legion Go 2, all running Windows full screen experience to see if the game can run. Now, we were actually meant to test this game as well with the MSI Claw 8 AI Plus, because MSI agreed to lend us one for a while to do these tests with, but unfortunately our unit was defective and we're having to send it back. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get a new unit soon, and maybe the next game that we test will, be included in this list.
Right, it's time for me to pay the 128KB bills with today's totally impartial video sponsor, and that's tomtoc. And today, we're lucky enough to introduce something we've all been waiting for. It's tomtoc's brand new Go 2 case for the Xbox Ally and Xbox Ally X. It is a continuation of the Go 2 range tomtoc was known for from the original Allies with their EVA hardshell design, but this time upgraded for the exact form of the new Xbox Allies. You're getting that genius W-shaped design on the top half. That means when the case is zipped shut, there's absolutely zero pressure on your joysticks or triggers, no accidental wake-ups draining your battery in the bag. It's got a splash-resistant exterior, buttery smooth YKK zippers, and a super soft fleece interior to keep that beautiful screen perfectly pristine. I do love how incredibly sleek this thing is. You're getting maximum heavy-duty drop protection without turning your handheld into a massive, uncarryable brick. It even has a really low-profile strap, making it perfect for flights or your daily commute on the train. So if you want the ultimate insurance policy for your handheld, then this is it. Hit the link in the description to check out the brand new tomtoc Go 2 case, and by doing so, you'll be directly supporting the channel. And of course, massive thanks to tomtoc for sponsoring this video.
And straight away I was really disappointed with the game's performance on all of these handhelds because there's issues. Most notably was on the Xbox Ally. I just couldn't get it to boot. Even using the tricks that I'll talk about later with the other handhelds, the game just wouldn't open. It would just crash over and over and over again. It was really frustrating. So unfortunately, it's a fail on the Xbox Ally, the base one. And I do think whether we had a driver update or a game update, that it'd actually be possible to run on this handheld, but for right now it doesn't work. Now with the Xbox Ally X, I had to do stupid tricks to get the thing to run by putting the resolution at 720p, changing the refresh rate of the screen down to 60 Hz, and then putting an FPS cap of 30 in Armory Crate to even get past the loading screen on the game. That's right, I had to do all this to get into the game because it just kept crashing like on the Xbox Ally. It was infuriating, and I don't know why this is a thing. Again, it's either AMD driver related because there's not been any graphics driver updates for ages, or it's down to the game itself. Once I was in the game, I could remove that FPS limiter, change the refresh rate back up to 120, and you can see we're pretty much capped at 60. And weirdly, it kind of is capped at 60. It does occasionally go above to like 62, 63, 64, but we're pretty much capped there. You can see the GPU power is at 35 watts as well, and we get about 80% utilization. Now, if we go ahead and change this over to medium settings, bear in mind we're on 720p here. Right now, at least, we're still in that sort of 60 mark. It does drop down a little bit, so it's sort of like mid to high 50s, but at 35 watts, 720p medium, I kind of would expect 60 FPS here. We are running FSR 3 performance. Now you can see this is actually totally playable. It's about 60 FPS here, but again, we are upscaling to 720p, so I would expect that we would see 60 FPS here. And honestly, this is totally playable. It looks totally fine as well. So if you want a solid locked 60 FPS mode one, then yeah. Will it run? Yeah, it will. Now let's move over to the high preset, still at 720p. It's now FSR quality mode, and we're still at 60 FPS here. Pretty much locked in the same FPS as when we were on the low preset. You can see the GPU utilization now has actually gone up above the sort of like 70 to 80 mark into the 90s. So the GPU is actually being used more here. So that's why we're getting better, well, it was the same kind of FPS even though we've gone up to a high preset. It's because it's letting the GPU actually ramp up and be used there. So now let's change over to 1080p tests, and we're going to go down and change that down to low. And you can see now that that actually changes FSR back to performance, 60 FPS. So you don't need to be on 720p at all. And you can see the GPU utilization is up to like 90% here, which is great. So I would totally say you're more than able to play at 1080p low preset. Now let's move over to 1080p medium preset. And going over to medium changes FSR to balanced mode. Now you can see we're in the sort of like high 40s here, but you can see the GPU utilization is still up into like the 90%. And bear in mind, I've got 10 gig of VRAM, I believe. But yeah, you're looking at the sort of like high 40s, low 50s, sometimes spiking up to 60s. I would say on average, it's probably just high 40s. You can see here that it's dipping down to about 44 as well, but then it does spike up in some areas as well. But more than playable at 1080p medium preset at 35 watts. Now 1080p high preset, obviously changing high puts FSR 3 to quality. This is actually an oversight on my behalf. I didn't realize it changed every time I changed the graphics settings, so my bad. I wanted it all to be on performance mode, so you could actually get better performance here by selecting FSR 3 performance, but you can see we're sort of in the like low to mid 40s now, sometimes dipping down into the 30s just there, but we are on a higher GPU utilization, and this is just a different area that I was loaded in after I died, and you can see we're at sort of like high 30s in this area. So yeah, just bear that in mind. Again, I would recommend FSR 3 performance across the board, just so that you can get higher FPS, because this kind of game, you do really want to be at like 60 FPS. So if it was me, I would probably just play at 1080p low preset with, you know, FSR 3 performance on. Now we're moving over to the Lenovo Legion Go 2, and I had the exact same issues here. You can see now on screen that I'm running 35 watts, you know, custom profile on efficiency setting as well on the profile at the bottom there. And I had to do the same tricks here. I had to put it in 800p, 60 hertz, and a 30 cap to even get into the game, which I could then readjust the settings and everything. So this is 800p low preset. And of course, I'm just showing here now that I'm changing it back to 144 hertz off of that stupid limiter just to get the game to run. And as expected, we're getting a good like 60 FPS. Apologies that the image is slightly blown out here. I didn't realize HDR was automatically applied in game, so it's made the peak brightness so high my camera's now getting blown out. But regardless, you can still see that it's actually performing really well. You're sort of at the high 50s. I do expect lower performance here because it's a bigger resolution than 720p, and you can see we're getting pretty much sort of mid to high 50s, which is kind of what I would expect. And if I'm perfectly honest, just the screen of this made it so much easier to play because you could just see so much more. And low preset, honestly, was totally fine. Like, this is more than playable. Now, 800p medium preset now. Bear in mind, it changes FSR to balanced. Again, my bad. I thought it was on performance, but it's not. And on the inside bit just here, we are in the sort of like mid 50s. I'm going to go outside any second now, and you'll see it probably drops down into the high 40s there. And it's sort of hovering around the 50 mark as well. So you can see the GPU utilization is actually like really low. So it's like 65 to like 68%, up to 71% there, GPU utilization. That's really, really low. I'm at 16 gig of VRAM on the Legion Go 2, so bear that in mind. Now moving over to the high preset, hopefully we see that GPU utilization actually like spike up from 70, but if I remember correctly, it doesn't. It just kind of like sort of hangs around there for some reason. And again, we're in the sort of like high 40s to around the 50s, and it looks like the GPU utilization is the same. So it's still sitting around the 70%, but look how high the CPU utilization is. It's just maxed out at 100%. So you might be better off actually changing from efficiency profile in the settings to performance to give the CPU some extra headroom there. Now we're into 1200p low, still 35 watts, and we'll see what the GPU utilization changes from here. So this is obviously a much larger resolution again, and it actually fills out. No black bars here, no 16:9. This is true 16:10, and GPU utilization is still 70%, and you can see we're still sat around 50 FPS-ish. So it's kind of the same as 800p high. So that is kind of the same, right? So I would probably choose 1200p low preset myself personally, because you're upscaling from a higher resolution there rather than from the 800p where it will be choosing a lower resolution to upscale from. But I would say 50 FPS is totally playable on this. I didn't even realize the FPS there. I was actually just filming it and playing it, and it was fine. Now we're moving up to 1200p medium preset, and bam, GPU utilization finally spikes up to 85%, and we're like sat at the sort of low 70s again when you go outside. So again, FPS pretty much the same. It's all around the 50s. So it doesn't look like you're getting much performance change between 800p and 1200p here, regardless of low, medium, or high preset, because the GPU utilization is just locked out as 70%. Now we're on high preset. And again, now look at the GPU utilization. We're in the 80s now. It's actually finally gone up. And look at the FPS. It's basically the same as all of the others. And this is running 1200p high preset FSR quality. And we're getting pretty much the same FPS as you were on 1200p low or 800p medium or high. Like, it's pretty much the same. The only way to get to 60 though is by going 800p low preset with FSR performance. But here's the other area that I kept in for you, because you can see it now drops right down to the 30 FPS mark. So I would say that it's better to choose one of the lower, performance profiles by choosing 800p or something. But you could see when it was dipping down there, the GPU utilization was really, really low. So yeah, CPU bound game, again, probably on the Legion Go 2. You want to change it from efficiency to performance mode in the power plan section on the Legion menu. You know what I'm talking about if you've got a Legion Go 2. If you don't, go watch our tips and tricks videos, and I explain it all there anyway. But yeah, so is it playable on the Xbox Ally? Not right now. I would actually say yes. I want to believe that it is playable, because at 20 watts, I reckon at 720p with ultra performance FSR or FSR performance, it would actually run. It's just right now, the game doesn't even load. And that is down to either the game being unoptimized or the drivers being the issue, which I'm leaning towards that one with all this hoo-ha about AMD drivers. And there's not really been any GPU drivers, and it's happening across devices here, all with AMD chips. Sadly, I couldn't test the MSI because our unit has to go back. But yeah, it would have been really interesting to see if that ran it. Does it work on the Xbox Ally? No. Does it work on the Xbox Ally X? Kind of. You saw in the video, yeah, it does run, but you have to do that stupid trick where you lower the resolution in Armory Crate to 720p first, change the refresh of the panel to 60, and put a 30 FPS cap to launch the game. That is just ridiculous. No one should be expected to do that. It took me so long to scratch my head and mess around with all this stuff to get this capture, because I really wanted this game to load. Really annoying. And then to find the exact same problem, same bug was happening on the Legion Go 2 as well. That's two different devices that I had to do the same workaround on. Really, really frustrating. But yeah, does it run? Yeah, it runs on the Legion Go 2 and the Xbox Ally X, but I wouldn't recommend it right now. Wait for a driver update or wait for a game update that fixes these bugs, because I think it could perform better. But if you're willing to get around that and you've already got the game and you're playing it on PC and you want to play it on your handheld, yes, you can do it. And I think you'll be fine running it at a lower resolution and upscaling it. But there we go. That is the first video in our series of Will It Run? We're hoping to do Crimson Desert next. So bear that in mind and let us know, what other things you want to see, what other games, all that good stuff. I'm just making stuff up now anyway. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let us know down in the comments. Like this video, subscribe, become a member, and you get to chat to us over on a private Discord. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.